Hello students, today we'll be checking frequency adverbs. So what are these? Frequency adverbs are always used to describe how often something occurs. In Spanish, how often would be ¿qué tan seguido ocurre algo? Okay, an adverb that describes definite frequency, es decir, una frecuencia definida, would be words like weekly, daily, or yearly in Spanish, semanalmente, diariamente o anualmente. En este caso, las palabras de frecuencia definida ya dentro de su nombre viene especificado con qué frecuencia se realizan estas actividades. An adverb describing indefinite frequency, es decir, doesn't specify an exact time frame, no nos da un momento específico, are words like sometimes, often, and rarely. In Spanish, a veces, seguido o rara vez. No nos dan un marco de tiempo específico, son generales. These are general. So we have several adverbs of frequency, but today we will only be working with 6: never, sometimes, always, often, rarely, and usually. Can you identify what they mean in Spanish? For example, never. Never would be nunca. Sometimes would be a veces o algunas veces. Always would be siempre. Often, seguido. Rarely, rara vez. And usually, usualmente. So guess what? Guess the order. ¿Cuál sería del más frecuente al menos frecuente? Can you guess which one we would start with? So we start with always. Oh, 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 oh. Good. So these are the frequency adverbs. The most frequent one would be always. Lo pudiéramos tomar como en un rango de 20% entre cada una, es decir, 100, 80, 60, 40, 20 y 0%, como para tratar de identificar la frecuencia con la que se realizan las actividades. What they represent. So we have always with a 100%, usually it can be around an 80, 90, often, okay, sometimes, rarely, and finally, never. Esta sería la frecuencia con la que trabajaríamos. Siempre, usualmente, seguido, a veces, rara vez y nunca. So that's the easy part, okay, the translation. And here, we have another graphic just in case you still don't or can't identify what they mean, okay? So now I want you to observe the examples that I have here. The first one, she sometimes goes after work. Mary often rides a horse at a stable near her home. She usually does her activities with one of her friends. So if you observe these examples, we have the subject, she, Mary, she, the frequency adverb, sometimes, often, usually, and then the verbs, goes, rides, does. And if you pay attention, the verb has to be modified like we checked in other classes. El verbo se tiene que adaptar como lo revisamos en otras clases, que si lleva ES, que si lleva nada más la S. Okay, las mismas reglas que revisamos en clases anteriores del simple present lo vamos a emplear aquí porque sigue siendo el simple present, solo que ahora añadimos una categoría de palabras que nos va a indicar qué tan seguido o con qué frecuencia se realizan las actividades. Okay, so this is the first part. Subject, frequency adverb, verb, and complement. And then we have another case. She is rarely alone because she has a lot of friends. She is always in choir class on Wednesdays. She is never in concerts in the city. So we have the subject, the verb, but it's not any verb. What verb is this? Is. Well, we have one example only, but this is verb to be, okay? Subject, verb to be, frequency adverbs, and complements. So if you look at the position of the adverbs, se identifican la posición, dónde están ubicados dentro de la oración. What is their position according to the verb? Según el verbo con el que están trabajando, ¿cómo están ubicados? With which verbs does the adverb go before? ¿Pueden identificarlo? En este caso, los adverbios de frecuencia se van a posicionar antes del verbo, siempre y cuando sea cualquier verbo que no sea el verbo to be. Recuerden que el verbo to be siempre nos da la contra, siempre trabaja por su cuenta. So when the sentence is with verb to be, the frequency adverb is going to be after. Okay? So this is what we have, the position. With any other verb, it goes before. With verb to be, it goes after. After significa después, before significa antes. So to sum it all up, para que lo vean más claramente, the position, with verb to be, it's subject. Verb to be, frequency adverb, el adverbio de frecuencia se va a posicionar después. He is always late. They are rarely at their cousin's house. Con cualquier otro verbo, no importa qué verbo sea, it'll be subject, frequency adverb, verb, and then the complement. Iría antes, before. I sometimes work until midnight. We usually buy lunch. And then we have another category. Habíamos dicho que los adverbios de frecuencia definidos ya dentro de su mismo nombre viene especificado la frecuencia con la que se llevan a cabo. Okay? So we have words or frequency adverbs like every day, todos los días, twice a year, dos veces al año. Here we could change the frequency 3, 4, 5 times a year. Every other week, de vez en cuando, monthly, mensualmente, once a month, una vez al mes, twice a month, 5 times a month, ya lo que ustedes quieran expresar como tal, 4 times a day, and daily, diariamente. Okay, so these are synonyms, todos los días, diariamente. These are just a couple of them. Obviously, you can change or modify these frequency adverbs to your needs. Se pueden en este caso modificar de decir una vez al mes, 3, 4, 5, 7 veces, 7 times a month. Okay? And what is their position? This one, it's very easy. Este todavía es más sencillo que el caso anterior because they can either be at the beginning or they can be at the end. Una de dos, o están hasta el inicio de la oración or they are at the end. If they are at the beginning, you have to write a comma after the frequency adverb. Twice a month, I go grocery shopping. Every year, she goes on vacations. Okay? Se pone una coma para distinguir el adverbio de frecuencia de la oración como tal, si está al inicio. If it is at the end, it'll just be on its own. I go grocery shopping twice a month. She goes on vacations every year. Sería una oración corrida. Okay? Twice a month every year. So that is all. Now we're going to practice. What do we have to do? We have to put the words in the correct order to make sentences as in the example. So we have a couple of words, but they are not in order. No están en orden estas palabras. So you have to put them in the correct order. Según las reglas que les acabo de mencionar, pues ustedes tendrían que identificar el orden correcto. For example, they often play football on Sundays. Ellos seguido juegan football los domingos. Okay, what do you do first? Okay, the first thing is to identify the verb. Okay, hay que identificar el verbo. Number one, late, is, she, sometimes. El verbo vendría siendo is. Y como es el verbo to be, la estructura dice que iría primero el verbo to be y después el adverbio de frecuencia. So it would have to be subject, she, is, the verb to be, frequency adverb, sometimes, and then the complement. She is sometimes late. So that is the correct answer. Okay. Number two, where is the verb? Early, Danny, never, on Sundays, gets up. The verb here would be gets up, which means levantarse. Okay. So we start with the subject. Oh, since it is not the verb to be, debido a que no es el verbo to be, the frequency adverb will be first. Va primero el adverbio de frecuencia. Danny never gets up early on Sundays. Esa sería su oración. Danny never gets up early on Sundays. ¿Por qué va antes el adverbio de frecuencia? Porque no es el verbo to be. We have two more examples. We have usually, he goes on Fridays to the cinema. So what is the verb? Goes. Okay, is this the verb to be? It's not. So the frequency adverb will be first. Subject, he usually goes to the cinema on Fridays. Okay, subject, frequency adverb, verb, and complement. And the last one, we have go, to the restaurant, often I. Okay? So all of the sentences start with the subject. Siempre vamos a iniciar las oraciones con el sujeto, I. And then we have the verb, go. It is not verb to be. Como no es el verbo to be, iría primero el adverbio de frecuencia según la estructura que revisamos. I often go to the restaurant. Okay? So that is all for this class. It's very easy and I hope you don't have any problems understanding the topic. See you next time.